Hey, did you know that other Daygame coaches who are former engineers are likely to have Asperger syndrome, in my opinion? I even did some research. I know it sounds crazy because we're so used to hearing about, oh, if a coach is popular, they must be good. I'm going to share with you 3 exposed secrets about this Daygame industry for the coaches that actually have Asperger's because they're former engineers. I'm going to revolutionize the way you think about social intelligence, like social skills and social calibrations. I am Johnny Leet. I am the world's best Daygame coach who has the most Daygame laid testimonials during 2024. This is a fact. I have 54 Daygame laid and pulled testimonials this year, when other coaches can only get 1 or 0 for the Asperger engineers. We're going to talk about some of them, like ABCs of low self-esteem. Former NASA engineer, canceled, queefing, Casanova, biotech engineer. You have Todd V, former engineer, tall self-proclaimed high lay count coaches. They only have 1 Daygame lay testimonials for these tall self-proclaimed guys, which they'll say, oh, I got 15,000 testimonials or 1,500 or whatever the fuck. Night Game and Tinder, whatever. But Daygame and Night Game is the only one that counts because that is pickup. Tinder is not pickup. Tinder is just a bunch of pictures. Of course, the engineers love the Tinders because you only need 12 out of 35. 10 points just for being white and 2 points for a text game. Night Game has 15 out of 35. Although it doesn't have social skills, it has more social calibrations. It doesn't have emotional control, it has more game. 15 out of 35 gets you laid. Looks out of 10, money out of 5. Status out of 10, social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, game, 2.5 points each. Daygame is 20 out of 35. It has social skills and emotional control too. This is where the engineers love the Tinders and their Night Game, but only Night Game and Daygame counts as lay testimonials. Even mystery method is very Asperger's, logical. So a lot of the coaches, they have literally 0 or 1. That means tall self-proclaimed coaches has 1 mystery method derivative, Asperger syndrome, logical nonsense. And then also ABCs of low self-esteem, 1 in a Latin country by Asian student. Who gives a shit? While these other coaches have 0 for 2024, they're posting old bootcamp clips. Oh, big fucking deal if it's from, oh, they went to a USA country. I have like over 22 fucking documentaries on that. Big fucking deal. It's, oh, we got a token Asian later, 2 of them. Who gives a fuck? But these engineers, with their old testimonials, so they have 0 for this year, 0 for 2023. They only have 2021 pandemic stuff and 2019 stuff from before. They recycle their old shit. It doesn't work in 2024. It doesn't work in 2023. So what should you do is that you should never listen to other dating coaches or Daygame coaches who are former engineers during the inflation for Daygame is 20 out of 35. Like I said, Night Game is only 15 out of 35. Tinder is 12 out of 35. Looks out of 10, money out of 5. Status out of 10. Social skills, 2.5 points. Social calibrations, 2.5 points. Emotional control, 2.5 points. Game, 2.5. And is the former engineers that have no Daygame solutions. That's right. Unless you count mass approaching tactics like Todd V or trying to use some kind of fucking tactics, or they're using alcohol crutches with heavy bed emasculation. Here's the truth. Some of the coaches out there secretly talks to you on the sales call and they'll tell you, hey, do you want to celebrate after the boot camp with alcohol? And you're like, yeah, why not? And when you buy a bottle of Jack Daniels, then they'll put it on their nightstand. And then when the student pull women home, they'll just say, use the alcohol and just keep it below a certain level so they don't get in trouble with the law. That is not skills at all. That is how they do it with their engineer kind of thinking. They engineer first principles, how to win without being ethical. And people are brainwashed by these old Daygame boot camp, like fucking boot camp, bencho camp documentaries. Who gives a shit? You're being brainwashed by old shit because they don't have anything during the inflation for 2023, 2024. They only have old pandemic shit, which is super fucking easy, by the way. So if they're popular as like junk food, if they only manage to get 1 late testimonial, like junk food, for example, You got two coaches, ABCs of low self-esteem, and you got tall self-proclaimed high lay count white coaches, the word coaches, plural, in my opinion, and statistically speaking, not my speculation, they only have one Daygame lay testimonial, unless I'm wrong. One's in a fucking Latin country, easier Latin country. The other one is a white guy getting a white girl in the United States. They talk a good game. They say they have 1,500 testimonials, but I don't count fucking Tinder because Tinder is a body count, not a lay count. Even people in India can swipe for you and send you the WhatsApp message, and there you go. That's a lay. Or you can use AI to generate your images in a cool lifestyle, and then you get laid. How is that skills? How is that a lay count? That's a body count. What about women? The ones who are on the TikTok and stuff, and they're narcissistic, and they talk about how they bang 100 guys already 23 years old with a high body count with narcissism. Later on, when they get older, men don't even date them anymore or talk to them when they start to physically look older. That's not skills. They just have to show up, be white, somewhat attractive, and then get validated. It's the same thing. And just because ABCs bring their students to Latin countries with their engineering mindset, their 12 out of 35, does not mean that is actual skills. That just means it is basically going to a Latin country with a high status job, if you're an engineer, like they're Asians, and then you have a high status lifestyle compared to the local Colombians. And then you have that third world money status advantage in Brazil. And then you have all these different advantages, exotic advantage, you're a different ethnicity. How is that skills? If you go over there and then you use these extra pieces of status to boost your own status or points, and then they're bragging, these fucking engineers are bragging about Tinder. And they only have one Daygame lay testimonials. They should go 1,500 whatever testimonials. If we take away all the Tinder and all the positive YouTube comments that are testimonial. Oh, I got over red pill, testimonial. Oh, I got over black pill, testimonial. That's not a testimonial. They didn't get any results. And how can we rely on people on YouTube? Who knows who are actually sending these messages? I'm not saying that they're all fake, but I'm just saying, is that a reliable source of testimonials? If you can't verify it, delay. You can't verify it. So why will you count that? And if you only count these engineers or former engineers, how they say they're so smart, and then they go back to, oh yeah, this is their lay count. No, body count. No, that's their lay count. It's the same fucking flow chart. 1,500, their results, the student results get better than anybody else. Nobody fucking counts body counts or Tinder. Engineer shit. Where's your pickup stuff? There's, oh, we have a fraction now, like fucking less than 50, maybe less than 40. But that's their actual students' lay count, not body count of the engineers. I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, they're so popular, John, so they must be right. Let's ignore all of John Elite's lay testimonials for 2024, right? You submit to authority like a bunch of sheeps. And I think that's wrong. Because when you ignore all my late testimonials this year, and you're acting super poor, and you're listening to these authorities, these press releases of ABCs of low self-esteem, these engineers, it's like, oh, look at them. They've been on the news. Well, what does the news have to do with them getting laid for Daygame? Nothing. What does the news even know about Daygame? The news, like fake news CNN, fake news ABC News, fake news MSNBC, just because you're on the news doesn't give you authority, because you're engineering, you seem like a nice person. If you look at the track record, only one student got laid in 2024, that's Asian. And then you have these other engineers that are posting some old shit, even if they posted Asians, are from like 2019, 2021, 2020 old fucking era. And they're recycling their engineered garbage. Doesn't even work in 2024, 2023. Absolute nonsense. You guys need to wake up. The engineers do not have the solution, or former engineers. Or they say there are 1,500 testimonials, which is mostly Tinder body counts, not lay counts. Women can have body counts too. It's not skills. So it's not like day game and night game, which actually is pickup. And ABCs is getting less of that. Is more on Tinder these days. They're bragging about, these fucking engineers are bragging about Tinder. And popularity, for some unknown reason, overrides all my late testimonials. I have 654. Their fucking popularity because they're platform scammers, like other Asian dating coaches and other people validating each other. Oh yeah, because they're popular, so these are the only junk food options. Excuse me, there are other better restaurants out there. You can't just depend on popularity. Oh, they have more subscribers. They have more sheeps. They have more Machiavelli manipulation. Engineers, they engineer the whole situation with their dark triad personality disorder or dark tetrad, which is sociopath, narcissism, Machiavelli manipulator, and sadism, depending on the coach. But then again, I'm going to show you a great way you can stop listening to former engineers, like Todd V, for example. He has 3 Daygame late testimonials forever, when the students don't even get laid. Or else you got tall self-proclaimed coaches who basically only has 1 Daygame late testimonial, just one. The whole fucking year of 2024, the inflation seems to be taking away their student results. The inflation is destroying their student results, so they can just go back into the same flow chart. 1,500, their lay count, the student gets better results. Let's debunk this. 1,500 is not all late testimonials from pickup. If we look at pickup, it's probably like less than 50 or less than whatever, less than 40. That's their actual results. Less than 40. You're like, whoa, that's very little. I'm just speculating. We can count them on the air if necessary. And we see which ones are day game and night game, and separate the Tinder and also the positive YouTube comments with the Aspergers. They make you sound like they're so fucking smart. Like Mystery back then, Mystery Method. He has a lot of people late. He didn't collect the testimonials, and that's his night game. That's fucking 15 out of 35. That's not day game, 20 out of 35. Mystery has 0 for day game. Ross Jeffrey, 0. But Mystery, for the logical Asperger's monotone fucking tonality, 0 laid testimonials. But Mystery's a guru. He's back then. Motherfucker. I started in 2001. You're like, bullshit. John, you look like a 21-year-old. How the fuck do you start at 2001? You are a 21-year-old looking guy right now. But I started 2001 before Mystery and Ross. I'm actually a first OG day gamer. They're not even day game, they're night game. But the fact that they can't get day game late testimonials is very suspicious. That debunks popularity. And Mystery Methods Asperger's, which other coaches like ABCs and tall self-proclaimed coaches uses. Even Todd V used something similar to build attraction, multiple dates, seduction lasts. Oh, but you got to sexualize it, you got to DHV it. These engineer mindsets, when they have no ability to flirt, they have no facial expressions, no emotional intelligence, oh, they got to sexualize it. Oh, you got to DHV. You got to start touching. They just bring their night game Asperger shit to day game. They have no idea what they're talking about. So, as I was saying, the first exposed secret is never listen to other day game coaches with Asperger syndrome who is former engineers. You're like, there's a lot of coaches that are former engineers. That's right. Because during the 2024 inflation, especially when women, you got to look at the psychology of women. How are they like? Don't you think their survival value is affected too? It's not just you guys that are broke. Not all of you are broke here in the audience, obviously. However, when you look at these people and you look at ABCs and you look at all these people, they're logical. A lot of the people that can afford boot camps, for example, their students, ABC students, these crazy rich Asians, they can afford boot camps. Almost all the people that can afford boot camps right now are all engineers. 100% of them are probably some type of logical engineer. You guys can't afford it. Level 1 people can barely afford Elite 30. They can only afford they can't even afford a $5 Elite day game first steps. They're that poor. But this is level 1. Level 2, they can afford $1,000 or roughly around Elite Bundle 2, $900. Level 3 can spend thousands of dollars. Their boot camps are $8,600 for a 10-day boot camp when they're posting old engineered shit from 2021 or 2019 and they're giving authority. Oh, they got one Asian laid or 2. Who gives a fuck? I got way more Asians laid than that. And they got ABCs who only got 1 Asian laid for day game in a fucking third world country like Mexico or Peru. Big fucking deal. or tall self-proclaimed coaches that only has one student late the entire year, talking a good game, talking a really great game. Oh yeah, 1,500 testimonials. Not all of them are laid. Delete all the YouTube ones. Not even like YouTube comments. Delete all the ones that YouTube not verified. Delete all the Tinder stuff because it's not a fucking lay count. It's a body fucking count. Body count. That's not a lay count. It doesn't count. And then you look at Queefing Cancel Casanova, just nothing but night game shit. Not even day game. They have no solutions to this problem. They're all engineers. They have no social intelligence. That's a big secret. This is important because other Asian dating coaches were former engineers or biotech engineers. That's right. They have no social skills and social calibrations. They have no social intelligence. They have one Daygame lay testimonial. That's it. This year. And zero for the others. They're posting 2021 shit using alcohol crutches. This is the secret how they do it. They in-ear coach you, but before that, they tell you on the sales call, do you want to celebrate with them in the boot camp afterwards by having a drink? So you say, why not celebrate with the coach? So you buy yourself a bottle of Jack Daniels. Now you have it on your nightstand. And when they in-ear coach you to pull women back home, that's what they tell you to do afterwards. They tell you to escalate her super hard, use your bottle of alcohol, and then when you get her drunk enough, then you can escalate super hard below a certain level. And that's how they're able to get their documentaries. And here's the thing though, you never see the students get laid. There's only 3 fucking pictures that they censored of the students getting laid. So there's not proof. Number 2, besides those 3, you only see 3 women's faces and they call them models. Every single one, they always bang a model. But you look at their faces, they're like 7 out of 10 or 7.1, 7.3 at most. My students are banging 9s and 10s nonstop. You can see their faces all the time. You can see exactly what my students are banging. So therefore, they're getting way above their looks level. This is what happens when I'm not a fucking Asperger's engineer.
What do you think about the black pill?
I think black pill is bullshit. So we'll talk about that later. But let me get through the engineers first, okay? Because somehow ABCs are able to use black pill and red pill to go to third world countries by boosting their muscles. They're just like working out like crazy to boost their muscles, and they have no social skills, social calibrations. Therefore, when they go to a third world country like Latin countries, they just have to swipe on Tinder. They don't need these things. So maybe for the black pill, most of you guys have a cortisol problem. That's why you guys are having very narrow shoulders, which is very unattractive to women. You need a V shape. Second of all, you're affected by the cortisol stress. You can see in your face. That's why you see people like wheat waffles and stuff. They're always like stressed out. But we're getting off topic. So as we're saying, so others only got a late testimonial from Latin countries. Engineers have no fucking idea what they're talking about. That's the problem. These nerdy fucking engineers. Give it a thumbs up. Help the algorithms. Help me reach more people. 2023, 2024 was so fucking hard. Other Daygame coaches could not get students late. ABC's got nobody late until now. It took 2 fucking years during the inflation to get late. Self-proclaimed high late count guy. Very few late testimonials, if any. Like literally less than 10 in total for Daygame. And I know because I taught their students before. And one of their students said, oh, they don't even believe in Daygame. It's an afterthought. It's always about Tinder and whatever. So I know. And the stupid Daygame, they're like laughing all the time. But that was actually a tactic. When you have no emotional intelligence, they're laughing to ease the tension. I know all the tactics. Oh, you spin her around and then you try to sexualize it. I know every fucking tactic they use. Doesn't fucking work. That guy got 0 lays until he trained here. He has more than 10 lays now because it didn't work for a 5'5" Indian. It might work for their Indian, but didn't work for the other Indian before. So what do you say about that? So that's ridiculous. But it works because now they have a bald fucking Indian who goes from Daygame, right? From other coaches. Now they're using fucking Tinder and they're calling it results. These fucking engineers are insane. They're insufferable. They just use the same thing all the time. 1,500, their lay counts. No, body count, not lay count. And then they go right into nobody has student results. You're calling fucking Tinder as results? Are you kidding me? Tinder is not fucking results. Tinder is It's just swiping and stupid pictures. You can use AI images now in the background as your 6 pictures with your face on it, and then you get better results. That's not fucking skills. That's not a like count. That's a body count. Tinder doesn't count. Only day game and night game counts. But here's the problem with ABCs and queefing, canceled, Casanova. They can only get night game late testimonials or Tinder. Where's the day game stuff? Only one for ABCs, just one for engineers. Engineers are Aspergers, most of them. The second exposed secret is day game is harder than night game, harder than Tinder. The main thing to understand here is that most of the Aspergers dating coaches will foist Tinder on you first. But Tinder isn't code approach like day game and night game. You have to physically approach for those two. Day game is harder because you need 20 out of 35. Night game, you need 15 out of 35. Since you can't use social skills in a loud nightclub, you cannot use emotional control. You cannot relax because there's loud music, alcohol everywhere. Just body language and game tactics. That's why they say, oh yeah, you gotta be physical, you gotta touch, you gotta... My students don't even have to fucking touch to get a same day lay. Ridiculous. So it's just body language and game tactics. Tinder is 12 out of 35. You just need to be white. Just be white, 2 points, just by texting, and you get laid with good pictures. But now AI can create those pictures for you, or the lazy Asians with lower natural status of 1 out of 10. And I'm not talking about going to some fucking New York place before 2019 or 2021 or 2019 most likely. Some old fucking boot camp, bench old camp clips. Who gives a fuck? It's super easy before. Look how many late testimonials I have of Asians. Super fucking easy. And where's their fucking 2023, 2024 late testimonials for former engineers? Zero. They're just recycling old shit and people are getting brainwashed. Ridiculous. Because of popularity and false authority and alcohol maxing. So, the lazy Asians, right, with a lower natural status of 1 out of 10, they go to these ABCs of Asperger boot camps. And they go to third world countries like Latin countries. Now they have a money and status advantage. They have a lifestyle advantage. They have a high status job advantage compared to the locals. And then now they're not like 1 out of 10 anymore. They're like 4 out of 10. And they're swiping in the Latin country. And due to their Aspergers, they'll go through hundreds of rejections, but they'll have like hundreds of matches, nearly 1,000 matches. And they might get laid with 1 to 4 of them. And they pay like $6,000 plus the trip. They're spending over $10,000 to get over to Colombia. Oh no, they don't go Colombia. They actually go to fucking Mexico and they go to Peru. Peru, a fucking cheap place full of short Latinas. A fucking peasant country. And they're getting, like, they're bragging about that. Give it a thumbs up if you're learning something. But like I said, Tinder isn't the same as Daygame. It's not the same as pickup. It is not a late count. It's a body count. This means the mystery method is very Asperger's. Monotone. Hey, I'm mystery. How's it going? How's it going? A mystery. It has no social intelligence. It's only good enough for 15 out of 35 night game because mystery styles do not get a lot of day game late testimonials. Like tall self-proclaimed high late count guy coaches using mystery method derivatives do not get students late. And look at maybe just one of them this year. And then you look at other ABCs, only one from a fucking Latin country. One. And that's a funny thing. They cannot crack Daygame because their Asperger syndrome have a high-functioning autism. They have social awkwardness. They don't have social skills. They only get 1 lucky or 0 lucky, 1 lucky lay with a student or 0 in 2021 for old bootcamp shit with expired alcohol crutches. So the third exposed secret is that their Aspergers is the level 3 audience are the enablers. You're like, what does that mean, level 3, John? So there's 3 different levels in terms of students. So who are the ones who are supporting these Aspergers engineer dating coaches are the people that are Aspergers. During this inflation, a lot of you guys don't have a lot of money. So therefore, you can barely afford the $5 elite day game for steps because you're in 4-figure and 5-figure debt. I know. You can't even afford elite 30, even though I wrote a new sales letter. You should check it out. So we call this level 1. It's not to criticize. There are some people out there that are poor. This, even in the biblical times, there are poor people. nothing's going to change generation after generation. So we call this level 1. Level 0 is like in depth, homeless. Level 1 over here. Level 1 means they can barely afford Elite 30. They just can afford like maybe a $5 course or maybe like less than like $50 course. That's it. Level 2, they can afford up to $1,000. These are the people that buys Elite Bundle 2 for $900. They can afford up to $1,000 at most. They will not spend a single penny over $1,000. What about level 3, John? They are the enablers, the crazy rich Asian, Asperger, autistic engineers that likes to go to Latin countries because these engineers are extremely lazy. Almost all of ABCs of low self-esteem audience or queefing cancel Casanova when they're charging $50,000 to go to Latin countries to pull underage girls. You remember the video that I made? These are all level 3 engineers. They're making money as engineers so they can afford it. Since they can afford it, these are the people they get, all Aspergers. All of you are left out in the code. Either you're a Daygame enthusiast who might take boot camps for white dating coaches and get fucking scammed. Those guys are autistic, not Aspergers. They're not logical. They just make you do mass approaches. But all the other level 3 people for ABCs, crazy rich Asians, they all take their boot camps and they go overseas and swipe on Tinder, gets nearly 1,000 matches just automatically being Asian in a fucking cheap, poor, third world country. These Asperger engineers, they can afford this shit. They're so Aspergers, that's why they can pay like $10,000 easily or $50,000 for these boot camps, these bencho camps. I'm the only one with consistent day game laid in testimonials. I posted a student getting married. I just posted another Jewish white student who just got laid. And the thing was that with the other Jewish white student, a lot of these Asperger dating coaches, most of their statistics for their students are 0 late testimonials in 2024. So who cares if they get positive reactions? And they're also only one for ABCs of attraction in a Latin country. And one for a tall self-proclaimed highly count guy coach who says you need to DHV, you need to sexualize it, you need to touch, set up dates to the house, set up dates. All this is wrong. Most of the day game industry are fooling you. Or you have other coaches out there posting 2021 stuff in bootcamp clips. That means statistically this year, I'm the only one getting students laid. And we're at near the end of the year. And nobody gives a fuck when I keep getting them laid and posting one after another. That means whatever you're learning before game has expired. You need social skills, social calibrations, emotional control. My students are getting laid nonstop. Success leaves clues. Fuck listening to Asperger coaches. Stop listening to them. They have no track record and they're getting false authority with these global networks, platform scammers. That's why you're stuck. But the people that can afford it are not the level 1 or level 2 guys. It's the level 3 guys who can afford thousands of dollars at these other dating coaches boot camps. Level 3 are people that can spend thousands of dollars. Level 2, they barely spend anything. Level 2, they'll spend $1,000. Level 3, they'll spend like a couple of thousand to $50,000 with a coach. Seriously. You're like, bullshit. No, these engineers have this kind of money. They want to go to Latin countries and swipe on Tinder. They can afford $50,000, $8,600, $10,000 for UFO UMP bullshit that doesn't even work because they're white. White is right in their mind. So they automatically have authority like sheeps and they trust because of the inflation with the current far left administration. But due to the current inflation caused by the far left policies, a lot of people thought it's okay to be low functioning. So therefore, they're more delusional. They half-ass everything, so they go towards game like you do. When they go towards game and they start doing the wrong path to sociopath, they listen to the wrong people. And they say, oh, I listen to you too, John. I listen to all these other fucking platform scammers. No, you cut them out because they're like a bunch of weeds that are growing in this nice garden that's supposed to grow something nice. Cut out the fucking weeds. You pull out the weeds. You get rid of the fucking weeds. Then you only listen to me, the only person that gets people laid consistently. The only person who gets people laid month after month, year after year, even during the inflation, is the only ones you should listen to, which is me, the only option. So if you're asking me that question and you're getting brainwashed by other coaches, maybe you deserve it. People are so delusional. They don't even look at my late testimonials anymore. They don't even look at it. They just ignore it and they assume the other coaches have it. They don't have it. Wake up, everyone. Otherwise, you're not going to know. Those guys are level 3. Of course, they're going to pay for $10,000 boot camp. That's just how much they make in a month for the engineers, around 8,000 to 10,000. So it's whatever, 10,000. Bench the money away. This is a small price to pay. For you guys, they're talking a great game. Then do I have a point? It's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I only seen one for the whole year. Same with ABCs. And you're using love systems, right? A mystery method. They're all mystery method, all connected. Mystery is Asperger's. Mystery is holding everyone hostage. This is for the Asperger logical, engineer fucking logical people. All right. As I was saying, these guys, if they can fucking afford an $8,600 bench hold camp or a $50,000 Latin tour, queefing cancel Casanova boot camp, going to Latin countries, this is key because Asians, right? These engineers, these Asian dating coaches or these other former engineer coaches. And then you have the audience, which is crazy rich Asian engineers. They are the enablers. Because of them, they enable these boot camps and these world tours in Latin countries because of the funding. While the rest of you can't afford shit except ripped jeans and mass approaching, you're going to get fucking demolished out there. You never thought about training with me because you're still brainwashed by them. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's all about popularity, the false authority. They validate each other, John. They're popular, so therefore they need each other's validation. Listen, I don't need validations from these fucking scammers because they're not on the same level as me. If I have 54 Daygame late and pull testimonials this year, and they have 1 or 0, and they're just scamming and brainwashing like fake news CNN, MSNBC, why would I need their validation? Why would I need their validation? They need my validation because they're scammers. They actually are a bunch of engineers, logical or autistic fucks. The autistic people love to play a numbers game because they're zombies half-assing it with game tactics. The Aspergers, however, they love to be logical and using these tactics. Oh, DHV stories, they're going to push-pull, they're going to self-amuse, and they're going to fucking... None of that shit works. If you want to get like a 4 out of 10 ugly woman, then yeah, that'll work. If you're like at least a 7 out of 10, you want to go below, but not during this year, 2024 is not going to work. Their game is not going to survive 2024 or 2025. Their Asperger's game. Now you realize that game was all a scam all along. Sure, some pickup artists bang a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 once in a while, and 3 out of 10s. Sure, by playing a numbers game before that inflation, not anymore. But then you start to realize that, oh, shit. If it's all game tactics, all these Asperger tactics, and it doesn't work anymore, game was all a scam. The real secret was social skills, social calibrations, emotional control. 7.5 points towards your 20 out of 35. That's 1/3. Right fashion already raises your points. Whitewash makes Indians higher in score. Not 2 out of 10 bench-hold Indians. They become 4 out of 10. It's simple math. Money, right? Have a watch that's like very expensive. Of course, not every watch is going to work. Not every watch is going to work. This algorithm. I have elevator shoes to boost my height. It's all a fucking algorithm. 20 out of 35. It's the reason why the other coaches cannot get it because their alcohol crutches have expired in 2021, 2019. They're just showing old shit, recycled, smelly fucking garbage. Smelly bench holding garbage. No one gives a fuck. I'm posting month after month, but people are brainwashed by smelly fucking garbage. Old shit, molded like crazy, expired like milk. They don't know what they're talking about. This is the first year that exposed all the other fucking engineers that their game no longer works. It's all expired. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. Game is expired in 2024, 2025. Other Asian dating coaches and their triggered Asperger's students. It's pretty wild, but a lot of Asians are diving into those pricey boot camps. Yeah, they're often engineers, these biotech nerds or programmer engineers or accountants who can afford it because Some of them might be even dealing with Asperger syndrome. You're like, what? That's right. I get it. The enablers, it sounds a bit out there. We usually hear about how these guys should connect with other Asian dating coaches because they share the same Asperger's super nerd Tinder going experience of logical engineer mindsets. Because a lot of the former dating coaches were actually engineers. That's right. Bunch of nerdy Asperger's engineers. And that makes sense. But today I'm going to let you in on 3 secrets that could completely change the way you view Daygame. Seriously. Don't just jump on that passport bro Latin country bandwagon and swipe on Tinder in some fucking third world Latin country. That is not results. What's up? Give it a thumbs up for those people that should not be passport bros in Latin countries, like all the other Asians building everything around that, including ABCs of low self-esteem, queefing, cancel, Casanova. That's right. Because the reason they do that is because they're feeling lost in the States or they're lacking social skills because of Asperger's. That's right. When you look at all the other Asian dating coaches and all the other former engineers that were teaching Daygame or even dating coaches, they're all into Tinder, all into Latin countries, and they're all like super Aspergers. They're logical nerds. So you should not be listening to those who lack social intelligence. Because the whole idea is that for these Asian guys, they're black-pilled. They believe that you need to be muscular and you need to bulk up. And then after you bulk up being black-pilled Asians, then you need to be red-pilled by going over to Latin America. Because these people, these crazy rich Asians can afford it with their Asperger syndrome. They're like, oh, we can afford boot camps. What's the big deal? Because they're level 3 students. They're like, level 1 can only afford like less than Elite 30, maybe $100, couple hundred, $50, $5. That's level 1. Level 2, however, they can afford up to $1,000, but they won't go a single penny beyond $1,000. And then level 3, it's a couple of $1,000s to $50,000, it seems, in the Daygame industry. People are paying, queefing, cancel, Casanova, $50,000 for a Latin world tour, whatever that means. And then you have these ABCs company charging $10,000 to go on these world tours, $6,000 to $10,000, including all the plane tickets, everything. That's going to be way over $10,000 just to swipe on Tinder. You could have just bought a fucking ticket to Colombia, assuming you don't get scopomined and drugged and all the money taken from you. And then you could just swipe over there in Mexico, or you could swipe over there yourself in Brazil. You don't need no fucking other Asian dating coaches for the rich engineers. So basically, first of all the other Asian dating coaches are bulking up with muscles, black pill, then red pill, going to other countries. But passport bro lifestyle is the answer to everything. It is not true. Especially if you're struggling with social skills, especially like these crazy rich Asian engineer nerds that falls for this kind of stuff because they're easily triggered. They have high ego, narcissistic personality disorder, and really low self-esteem, but they can afford this stuff. So they don't care because they're lazy. So here's the deal. I'm John Elite, and I'm the best Daygame coach in the world out there. I've got 655 laden po testimonials. That's right, 655 now. It used to be 654. The Jewish white student just got another lay. So that's the thing. My students, 655 laden po testimonials using my Daygame methods. More students are finding success with me than other guys out there who are focused on low self-esteem night game like ABCs or queefing, cancel, Casanova, or they're using Tinder. for these Asians are going to Latin American countries and using Tinder. But here's thought why some of these other Asian dating coaches appeals to other Asians with Asperger's. And you might be wondering, John, what exactly is Asperger syndrome? Asperger's is a logical engineer's high-functioning autism. It usually means that the Asians are monotoned. They can't move their tonality like some of my students that are Aspergers. Then from there, besides being Aspergers, they have no fucking facial expressions whatsoever. They'll be like walking in there with their Botox face, and they'll be like, hey, red wine, white wine. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Oh, wow, cool. They'll be talking with their Asperger's face without zero facial expressions. You never see it move their face. They can't move their face because it doesn't work. I have many students that are Asperger's, whether they're Asians or not. So I tell them to take pictures of your face. Hey, take a picture of your face. Try to smile. They're like, okay. Okay. Now try to act surprised. Okay. Now try to act like sad. You can't even tell the fucking difference because they're Asperger's. That's the thing. These Asians with Asperger's, Asian poker face as they call it. But it's not just the Asian poker face, it's the Asian poker tonality. Their tonality does not move at all. Their tonality is just beta and Asian. Hey, how's it going? Oh, wow. I came by over there and I come by say hi because you look cute. Oh, wow. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Oh, can I get your number? Oh, okay. Not today. Oh, you have a boyfriend. Oh, that's how Asians talk like. ABCs of low self-esteem only has one student laid in fucking Peru or Mexico. Just fucking one student in a fucking Latin country for 2023 and 2024. Where are their Daygame laid testimonials? Like we said in the last YouTube live. Because they're Asperger syndrome, they're high-functioning autism, they can't make good eye contact, they're monotone, they have no facial expressions whatsoever. These Asians are logical and they're only good at one job, whether it's engineering or something like that, accounting, whatever Asians, these crazy rich Asians are taking these days. And these guys are like in their 40s and they're rich and they're getting old. So rather than learning Daygame, ABCs of low self-esteem is, oh yeah, you're making fun of them, you're a hater. First of all, how can I be a hater? Let's just get this out of the way. I have 8 students married right now. A couple of them are still undisclosed. There's probably 9. Some of them are engaged. I have more students married than them. I have more students laid than ABCs. If we compare it, they just got positive reviews, whatever the fuck that means. It's not results oriented. And whatever students they post, they just call it a romantic encounter because they're lying to the other Asians. And then they have these press releases. It's, oh, we were featured on the news, so they must be legit. What the fuck does the news have to do with Daygame? They don't understand it. They hate Daygame at all. They'll try to cancel anybody from Daygame. The news is not a reliable source, but once these crazy rich Asians, they look at the news and they're like, oh, I see CNN over there, ABC News. Oh, I see all these universities they spoke at. They must be legit. No, this is a celebration of Asperger syndrome because that was a former NASA engineer. Then you got other biotech engineers like queefing canceled Casanova. Then you have even more fucking nerds out there with Asperger's. That's the problem for dating coaches. They fall into 2 camps. I'm camp number 3, which is the naturals. I teach social skills, social calibrations, emotional control, and game. All the naturals have that. I'm just automating that. They don't have that. They're Aspergers. The Aspergers are the mystery method style nerds. The Asians that are like ABCs that learn from mystery. ABCs learn from mystery method himself. Therefore, they're a bunch of fucking nerds, logical, trying to use tactics. They're always trying to engineer things for these Asians that appeals to the crazy rich Asians. And they never offend you when they talk. They're always like, hey guys, hey, I don't want to offend you, but Asians, get this. Okay, get this concept. The way they talk to you, these Asians, these triggered Asians, like they're teenagers or something. Hey, stupid teenager, I don't want to offend you. I'm going to talk down to you, but get this, Asians. This is how they really talk. Like you see on all their videos. Hey, crazy rich Asians, I don't want to offend you, because if I offend you, then you guys will not pull out your wallets, and they cannot take your money and put you into Tinder boot camps in Latin countries. That's right. That's how they talk to you guys. The crazy rich Asians are the enablers. They enable all this stuff to happen. So that's the thing. This is a celebration of Aspergers. The other coaches that appeals to Asians are the mass approaching RSD types. For the zombies that basically have no self-esteem, mass approaching, and literally no self-esteem, completely delusional, and they're just giving direct compliments. Those are the other types of coaches. It's either Asperger's or autism. Autism is like Coach Kyle, RSD, Charisma King, just pure fucking autism. Delusional. Then the other ones are like tall, self-proclaimed high leg count guys who's, oh, I got some Tinder testimonials. Oh. No, Tinder is not day game. Tinder is not night game. Tinder is not pickup. Tinder is not code approach. Tinder is mental bullshit that they invented, like a blue ocean strategy. Results are not results. It's a body count, not a leg count. Are we seeing a woman who is on Tinder, a narcissistic one on maybe TikTok? Most women do not have a high body count, believe it or not. But is it the same as those women that have over 80 leg counts for validation? A small percentage of the population is narcissistic. So I'm not saying all women. But for those ones, does that mean they have a leg count because of their strategy? Or are they just white women that opens their legs more? So if that is that a leg count because of skills? No, it's a value. They're just posting value out there. They're texting. Is that game? No. So how can that be game? Tinder is not pickup. And then when you have these ABCs of low self-esteem and these other crazy rich Asian Asperger nerds, they go to these third world Latin countries when they already have more advantages, like a high status job compared to the local Colombians who tries to drug you with scopamine. Or Mexico, these kidnapping crazy motherfucking sociopaths. And they go to these places like Cancun. But that's the thing. Is that really pickup? They're just swiping because now they have a high status job as an engineer, making more than the locals, Latinos, and the Latinas, obviously. Most Latinas are nurses in the United States. And number two, third world money status advantage. That's what they have. Number three, some of them have a lifestyle. That's 3 extra points. Number 4, exotic advantage. Just by being Asian in Latin countries, these guys will have 4 extra points. And if they're whitewashed, they'll have 5 points there. And then when they swipe, they get like 800 matches over there in the Latin country. So they feel good, but you don't even need to go to ABCs to swipe and get 800 matches. And then when they finally get laid from there, they call that testimonial. That's not a pickup. Even the Indian from India can swipe for you if you hire them. And then they can send you the message or the woman's phone number on WhatsApp. You can continue the conversation. And guess what? If you get laid from that, how is that a lay count? That's not a lay count. If an Indian can do the pickup for you, it's not even pickup on Tinder. Or a tall, good-looking white guy who basically goes to these passport bro countries and starts swiping. Good for them. And then what? They get some lays from Tinder just by being tall and white in Asian countries. And then what? Is that a lay count? No, it's not a lay count. Asians, wake the fuck up, crazy rich Asians. Tinder is not a lay count. It's a body count. It's not pickup. And look at this. You can literally change your images with AI, change the whole background, put your face on it, train the AI. And guess what? You swipe, you go to Latin country, get laid. Is that a lay count? No, it's a body count. That's a body count. It's like not even pickup. But these crazy rich Asians is because they all share the same struggles as the other Asperger's dating coaches. It's like they're drawn to each other. And their high egos and low self-esteem can make them a little bit fragile. And that's the problem. how triggered these Asians are. As soon as Johnny Elite, me, starts speaking in front of the camera, and I was like, hey, Asians, this is the truth. You're Aspergers. You have autism. And then you're an engineer. You know what? They get offended. The asshole slams shut, and they're like, oh, I don't want to listen to Johnny Elite because he too mean. He not acting professional. Who cares if he have the most late testimonial? Daygame too hard for us Asian brain. Our Asian brain too logical. Too have to be like Asian. He sound like an Asian tiger parents. Johnny Elite sound like he not nice. He like tiger parent. So we don't listen to him, and we listen to ABCs because they are super nice to not trigger the high ego, low self-esteem, delusional Asian engineer nerds without social skills. Oh, Tinder looks so much easier in Colombia or Latin countries like Peru and all these poor Latino crazy motherfuckers, murderers. Yeah, Latino countries. 46 of them are the murder capital of the world out of 50. It's crazy. People are fucking crazy, trust me. You haven't seen anything yet in terms of low self-esteem. But now you got these low self-esteem Asians going over there because they're like, oh, Tinder or whatever. These crazy rich Asians. They are the enablers of all these other Asian companies. Queefing canceled Casanova, charging for their millionaire club, whatever bullshit, social circle jerk. They're charging $50,000 fucking dollars per head. $50,000. What the fuck? $50,000 per student. They have 18 of them, and they're making like over $500,000. It's just, whoa, just all of the money goes right into their Bitcoin account or their wallets, and they just take everyone's wallets. And then what? They get in trouble for pulling underage girls in Brazil? What the hell is that? That's crazy rich Asians because they're stupid engineer nerds. Any other dating coach out there, I'm telling you the truth, any other dating coach out there that used to be a fucking engineer are all Aspergers. They're basically, these crazy rich Asians are going to your countries and they're swiping on the women because they have more money and stuff. And that's how they build their attraction. These crazy rich Asians, when they go into the United States or Canada and they start swiping on Latinas have like a 90-something% flake rate. Unless you same day lay a Latina and you're Asian, they're super shallow because Latinas have big hips and little waist. And they want a guy with bigger muscles, bigger height in the United States. If you're Asian, either you look like a Mexican, because some Mexicans actually have black hair. They look like Asians. They look like Filipinos. So if you're looking like that, you could get a Latina if you take steroids, or you're very tall, you take steroids and you're good looking, then you get a Latina. But Latinas are the flakiest in the United States. They only like protector status and stuff like that. And you have to, the hood rats only like gangsterish people. But when these crazy rich Asians fly over, these Aspergers, over to Colombia, to Peru, to Mexico, to all these other Latin countries, these crazy rich Asians with their Aspergers, and they start swiping. Now they're getting from 0 matches, or 1 or 2, if they look a little bit dark-skinned, to getting over like thousands, almost 1,000, 800 matches. And eventually they might get 1 or 2 lays, and then they could have done that themselves. They don't have to pay ABCs like 10K or 6K, whatever, for their boot camps over there, flying to those countries. They could have just got a fucking plane ticket, try not to get kidnapped by these crazy Latinos, and then start swiping. And be careful in Colombia because they love to kill Asians over there. They love to kill Asians, especially with scoping. There are Asians who gets murdered after they take all their fucking money, after they get drugged over there in Colombia. They use something called scopamine. So when you go on Tinder, especially in Colombia, these crazy local motherfuckers, these crazy Latinos will drug you, take all your stuff, and then kidnap you, and then they murder you anyways. But that's the price to pay, right, for them, because they finally get to swipe on Tinder. It's not exactly the safest thing over there in Colombia. I'm just saying that. You want a cold approach in Colombia only. But the crazy rich Asians, they love these places. They love these places. So that's what I'm trying to say, because they're Aspergers. And what's frustrating is these coaches often end up enabling their students, these engineers. They get super triggered by the truth and prefer to listen to other former engineer, Asperger nerds, Asian dating coaches who speaks in a very soothing way. The way they speak is so high vibrational. The way they speak is so happy when they speak to you like this. Hey guys, I'm an Asian dating coach, like ABCs. I'm gonna take all your fucking money. That's how they talk like. Oh, get this Asian. This is how they sound like. I'm gonna make you go to Latin America, and can Asians be like a passport bro? Oh, that's right. So they talk like that to you, so comforting. Yeah, so for crazy rich Asians, just listen to me because I don't offend you like that Johnny Lee over there. That guy's an asshole. But even though he got more late testimonials than ABCs, that guy's an asshole. So therefore, he's not high vibrational energy. Listen to us, the ABCs, people, Aspergers, because you're an engineer, I'm an engineer. That's how they talk. And then they start speaking to them, and the Asians are like, oh, press releases. Oh, a few good reviews. Whatever. Look, good reviews does not mean good lays or any lays. Reviews and lays are two different things. Oh, they got romantic encounters. Romantic encounter means they did not get laid. They had a romantic encounter like kissing in the bedroom. Then when they get laid for the student, like fucking Tinder, who gives a shit? And they're like, they throw in everyone's face. It's like, oh, look at this guy. He got laid. They make every single person in the world know it. All these crazy rich Asian. Who cares about Tinder lays in the Latin country, in the third world country? That does not count. The reason why it doesn't count is because it's a third world money status advantage. High status job, lifestyle, if you have it. Third world money status advantage, exotic advantage. These statuses that Asians don't have with Latinas in the United States, and then they go over there and all the Latinas, not all of them, but a lot of them become more compliant because don't think money is not a big issue. That's not influence or third world money status advantage and all these other things for these Aspergers, Asian nerds. Give a thumbs up to say, fuck you to the Asian nerds that go over there who don't listen to me because they get triggered by the truth. You can't call a spade. You can't tell the truth over here because you triggered the crazy, rich Asians. That's right. So basically, they love to hear everything in such a soothing way. It's like they're reaching for their wallets, right? Just to sign up to those expensive Latin tours. And they range from 10K to 50K. You're like, 50K? How could they afford it? How could they not afford it? You're like a crazy rich Asian engineer. You save up maybe 2 years after your expenses, everything. These guys are lonely. They're getting older. They're in their 40s. They're getting wrinkly. And then they don't believe they can do Daygame because they're two Asperger nerds. Because looks is out of 10, money out of 5, social status is out of 10. Social skills, social calibrations, emotional control game, 2.5 points. They have to make 20 out of 35 like my Asian students who gets late. That's so many of them. And many students that are married. That's how queefing cancel Casanova sounds like in the infields. Hey, yo, how's it going? We should get married. There's no fucking skills. And then they go over there to a Latin country for $50,000 while pulling underage girls that are Latinas in parties. And they're indicted by the Brazilian police and their judicial system. As crazy as that sounds, but they'll defend these people. They'll be like apologists. You guys are rich, crazy rich Asians who are Asperger's. You have no ambition for Daygame because you're lazy. You want to engineer the situation. That's the big problem. Because you don't have any social intelligence. You just, it's easier to just go to a Latin country and start swiping like ABC say, oh, he's so positive, he's professional. No, he's a professional marketer. I'm a dating coach. The words coach. I get people laid way more than they do. Daygame is harder. Daygame is 20 out of 35 when we look at the score. Tinder is 12 out of 35. And 5 points are already for those status maxing for Asians. And also, Night Game is 15 out of 35. There's no social skills. So they go to these European world tours and they go to Latin world tours. They don't do Night Game as much these days. They just mostly Tinder. They're lazy Asians. lazy, crazy, rich Asians. They just do night game. Night game's easier. With a loud nightclub, can you actually do social skills flow drill? I'm not talking about word association bullshit that ABCs does. Queefing, cancel, Casanova, or ABCs of low self-esteem, where they have these stupid verbal drills. Speaking of whatever, and then they go blah, 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 blah. And the last sentence, they go speaking of, and they continue from there, last sentence, and they go in and they just keep doing that. That's not social skills. They don't actually have the ability to have social skills. That's just verbal Asperger syndrome, mental bullshit of them. It's ridiculous. So there is no social skills and emotional control. How can you control your emotions in a loud, drunk nightclub with women down the fuck? The things are super loud. You can't relax. It's hard to relax. So therefore, they're only pulling with game and they're pulling with body language. That's about it. And some white people might vibe it. They're just like, oh yeah, you need to vibe it and then just be physical and then just... No, this is just a celebration of Asperger's syndrome. These guys who can get students laid occasionally from night game, they don't have any day game laid testimonials. Look, for example, if a former coach was an engineer, like tall self-proclaimed coaches using mystery method, Asperger's engineering bullshit, logical mentality, and then they try to teach day game, and how many laid testimonials, in my opinion, does tall self-proclaimed high lay count white coaches have? Coaches, the word's coaches, plural. They only have one in 2024. Mystery method, one. Asperger. Engineers don't understand social skills. It didn't work during the inflation because you need social skills and you all need social intelligence, social calibrations, emotional control. But what you really needed was the ability to have enough skills. They don't have skills to deal with her objections. And we don't mean just like seating the pole and then pulling them back home and then dealing with the logistical objections. You got to deal with the sexual objections. And you don't just half-ass sexualize and engage these stories. None of that shit works. That basically, mystery method is debunked for 2024. These platform scammers, especially ABCs, you have all these other systems that are similar to mystery. They're all platform scammers. Former engineers have 0 or 1 laid testimonials for 2024. And here I am with fucking 55 laid and poll testimonials in 2020. 55, John. 50 fucking 5. You're like, what the fuck? That's more than everyone's careers. That's right. Just this year alone. Because I teach social skills, social calibrations, emotional control. Game is just maneuver, sexualized objections, looping. That's it. Game is like a fucking little skeleton. It's like 2.5 points. But for them, it's like meat. No, social skills, social calibrations, emotional control is the meat that you put on top of the skeleton. Yeah, really? Yeah. That's just the skeleton, guys. That's all you need to work on the other stuff that naturals have, from zombie to human or superhuman. So, as I was saying, these guys can spend $50K in the hopes of swiping on Tinder in countries where they feel more comfortable. A lot of these engineers, right? They just don't want to put in the effort to learn day game because it's 20 out of 35. You even got one coach, queefing canceled Casanova, who basically got canceled in Brazil. Okay. So he got in trouble in Brazil throwing parties with underage Latina girls. It's just a mess of emotionally stunted guys or Asperger engineer Asians. These narcissistic Asians with low self-esteem who basically have no empathy and no guilt. That's the problem. Now, if I try to give them some real talk advice without mental filtering or whatever, they get offended. Trust me, Asians get the most offended at Johnny Elite. They see my face and they see that I'm not like ABC's, hey guys, I want to be very nice to all of you and not offend anybody. If I say, you know what happens to Asians? They'll run it in every fucking direction like a bunch of cockroaches, the engineer cockroaches everywhere. Boom, and scattered every fucking direction. They don't want to hear the truth. You offend an Asian, they don't listen to you for another 3 years. Especially these nerdy fucking engineers. They'll listen to everybody else but Johnny Elite because they all think it's muscles because they have no social intelligence. So if there's no social intelligence, how can we move the needle up for the 2.5 points, John? We don't get it. These crazy rich Asians are like, we don't have any social skills or body language. Why should we work on social skills? Why not just work on muscles? like Asian masculinity movement with their black t-shirts and their muscles and their big, bulky, fat bodies that looks like Cushing syndrome, but they're proud of it because at the end of the night, these crazy rich Asians or these poor, autistic, sociopathic, narcissistic, sadistic Asians with their bulky Ninja Turtle, bulky, ugly bodies. At the end of the night, they go after Asian women because they stand there with their bulky bodies like Shrek, and the women has to pick somebody to go home with. And they stand out because of black pill. Asians are black pilled, and if they travel different countries, they're red pill. Is that fucked up? So Asians have found a way to make black pill and red pill work in Latin countries, which is muscle maxing. And forget about dressing husband material. Forget about that. Fuck that in their minds. Why should we dress more whitewashed to fit in and assimilate? Because we Asians, as they think, right? These crazy rich Asians. We Asians are good enough. Why should the world, we all have to change to the world. The world should change to us. No, if you dress like you just came out of the Wuhan lab and they don't like that shit over there. What are you doing? What are you doing? Doesn't make any sense. So you dress like you're part of the out tribe. And these Asians don't know it because you dress as bad as your parents. So if you have one parent that dress well and one parent that dress like shit, okay? Then you got someone like me. My mother dresses well. My brother dresses well. I dress well. Because your family has a huge influence on the way you dress. But then you got these Asians with these fucking Wuhan wash looking parents. And they're born here. And here's the fucked up thing. Some of these crazy rich Asians are born in the United States and they're dressing like they just came out of China in the Wuhan lab factory. These crazy rich Asians. What are they thinking? They're like, oh, but we're good enough. We wear all black. Black like an Asian ninja. It attracts Asian girls. Let's have this Asian fucking hairstyle. Don't mind my hair recently. It's not like perfectly up here. This is like the Donald Trump recently. My hair is getting curly. Normally, I wasn't born with curly hair, but it's getting curlier as I get older. I don't know what the fuck happened. This is the Donald Trump, right? Hey guys, Trump here. I can't do a Trump impression. But the crazy rich Asians are like dressing with their black fucking clothing. They're Tinder in Latin countries or being big, bulky, Shrek looking, standing out at the end of the nightclubs. And that's the problem. They get offended because there are two ethnicities with the highest narcissistic personality disorder in the world. Number one is the Chinese. You're like, John, you're Chinese, right? I am Chinese. Number two, but I have self-esteem. Number two, it is the Indians. Because the narcissism with their parents, Indian parents and Asian parents are similar, slightly different. They have a narcissistic ego. Oh, your cousin's making more money than you are. They have to care about their images. And also the difference between Indians and Asians, or crazy rich Asians, is that Indians have to send money back home to their narcissistic parent. They can never let go. Crazy rich Asians, their parents are going to move in with them one day as a retirement plan. You're their retirement plan. They don't give a fuck about your social skills with your Aspergers-like behavior. They don't care. So that's what happens. And they get offended because they think that I'm channeling their Asian tiger parents-like behavior. No, it's not that. This is called tough love. They get results here. This is called tough love. You need that tough love and discipline because you're delusional. You have no self-esteem. You must build the drills to have the skills to level up your video game character or your life. And stop being a fucking NPC, but be a main character of life. Like John's talking like a Gen Z now. But wait, isn't he a Gen Z? He's like 24. No, I'm not a Gen Z. Okay, boomer. So here's what I want to share with you, these 3 secrets about how those guys are enabling each other. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Hey, isn't it easier just to go to a Latin country and swipe on Tinder, right? And forget about the Daygame stuff. Sure, a little night game here and there might be fun for these Asians, just to have it a little bit easier. But honestly, there's so much more to it than just that. or fucking Tinder in goddamn Latin countries, murder capitals. I'm going to show you the solid way to stop for these emotionally retarded mindsets. Asians. Most of the engineers are Chinese, I can guarantee that. A few of them are Vietnamese for logical people, for my students, or they're half Vietnamese and half Chinese. But there's a huge Chinese connection. Some of the Vietnamese are very logically smart, and a lot of them are just dumb gangsters. But the rest of them, or they're just stupid beta males, and the rest of them, or some of them, are very smart. So that's the thing. And here's how you can start getting results. So the first thing I want to say here is that some dating coaches out there are really focused on Asian students, especially those who might be on the autism spectrum, like engineers or accountants. Basically, you're like, what are you talking about, John? Basically, we're talking about these older 40-year-old Asian, nerdy Asian guys, and they crave a lot of comfort. When it comes to marketing, they often come with this baggage of low self-esteem thanks to those tiger parents pushing them into logical careers. Just like Asians and Indians are similar. Oh, beta, you don't want to be a doctor? Why not? You want to disgrace this family? What would people think of us? But you also have the Asians. Oh, you got a B? You're not a B Asian. You're an A Asian. I forgot the joke, but you need straight A's. What do you mean an A minus? How will you make a living? How will you get a house? How will you get a car? This is the lie that all Asians go through. If you get a nice job, then you have a nice house, a nice car, and all of a sudden they look up in the sky and guess what happens? Some Asian woman will just parachute and glide naked and fall right on their dick and they get married. That's the lie. The Asian parents lie that they tell you, and they fall for it. And that's the thing, because they're Aspergers for these guys. They have no social intelligence. Even if some of the Asians are not technically Aspergers, they just don't have social skills. They have Asperger-like syndromes or qualities about them. That's the thing. They get triggered and pretty easily, and they secure a job that fits their skills. Asperger's engineers. But here's the spoiler. They don't actually get married, and they get angry when they turn 40 years old. And they don't want to listen to Johnny Late. So here's a spoiler alert. You don't get married by doing all these things because there's just not enough fucking points. If we look at 20 out of 35, does that raise your looks by having a nicer house or car? No, it raises your money. That's 5 fucking points. That's what the crazy rich Asians don't understand. 5 points. So if you're like, you have tens of millions, which Asians don't because they're not leaders, except for me, but they're not leaders. So in their job as CEOs, you don't see a lot of Asian CEOs that are outside of China in the United States, outside of NVIDIA. You don't see a lot of them. So therefore, they have a ceiling because they don't have leadership qualities. Except for me, I do. But they don't have that kind of leadership qualities. So Asians will only make around 6 figures at most. That's their cap. Unless they're startup companies in AI tech doing some shit like that. In the future, they'll make more. But crazy rich Asians are engineers who gets paid at 6 figures a year. Not even that much money. And then, that's the problem. They end up following advice from the wrong coaches who understands their situation because they used to be engineers themselves. All the people that were former engineers, they can't teach Daygame in 2024. There's 0 late testimonials or 1. Self-proclaimed high lay count guys. Then you got ABCs. Then you got Queefing Cancel Casanova Biotech. You have Todd V. You have all these other fucking engineers. There's no like fucking lay testimonials, just 1 or 0. Because they're Aspergers, they're tactics, which may work for Tinder, 12 out of 35. Night Game, 15 out of 35. Doesn't work for Daygame, 20 out of 35. At all. Doesn't work. So you listen to the wrong coaches that are Aspergers. And here's the kicker. Their job often puts them in a level where for these Asian engineers that they can shell big bucks. 10K, no problem. They're very similar. Indians and Asians are similar. Except that Indian parents makes you send money back home. Asian parents wants to move in with you when they retire and then you're the retirement plan to move to the United States. That's the difference. And they're both narcissistic people that care about their images. But these crazy rich Asians with tiger parents, they can afford 10K boot camps, 50K boot camps for world tours. But socially, they might struggle a little bit, and they often turn to platforms like Tinder or other dating apps in third world countries. They'll get 0 matches when it comes to Canada or the United States for Asians. They can swipe all day. They can swipe for 2 months in a row. They won't even get a single date for Asians. Seriously. Oh, but they're engineers. They have money. They don't give a fuck about that shit. You can swipe all you want. So this is why these other Asian dating coaches are saying, oh, you know what? Screw North America. They'll be like, let's go over to Latin countries, these Asperger nerds. They have literally given up. And these other Asians have given up. And they're like, yeah, let's be red-pilled and go overseas and stuff like that. These crazy rich Asians. They're thinking that's the only way they go because they shy away from learning Daygame with their Asperger-like tendencies and their emotional retardation, which we'll talk about soon. That's the techniques I offer. And the skills, social skills, social calibrations, emotional control. Because it's frustrating because it feels like they're just opting for the easy route, the lower self. They don't go for the higher route. They get shipped off to a Latin country instead. So yeah, it's a complex mix of aspirations and misunderstanding. It really is. So that's the thing. So the second exposed secret, that was number 1. Number 2. Oh, you're going to love this one. And you're like, John, you're Chinese. How dare you insult other Chinese? Listen, you guys are thinking, oh, John insulted Latin people, calling them Latino fuck behavior. And they're stubborn one-track mind people. No offense to some of the people in the audience, but you are, right? You just lost your job. You did exactly the opposite of everything I said. For the crazy rich Asians, they're emotionally retarded. And you're like, what are you talking about, John? Explain yourself. You offended your race. You offended the other Asians. How dare you call them emotionally retarded? Can you give us some examples? Oh, of course I can. These Asians are Asperger. They trigger men with low self-esteem that has high ego due to their tiger parents and low self-esteem, and they're emotionally retarded with Asperger's, narcissistic personality disorder, sociopathic disorders, easily triggered Asians. They have no empathy when they daygame whatsoever. The Chinese in particular. I'm going to share something that's been on my mind recently. There's a pattern I've noticed with some Asian men, particularly those who seem to struggle with self-esteem issues. It's like their inflated ego, probably because of those strict tiger parents. And honestly, a lot of them are emotionally stunted. Like they have Asperger syndrome, some narcissistic traits mixed in. I'll be the first to say it. When I teach Asian students, they are the first ones to go up to women. And whenever they have to connect with them, I'm not saying rapport is everything. You want to get them talking more so they like you, trust you, and be willing to go home with you. But the Asian fucking engineer nerds are always laughing whenever she talks. The Aspergers. One guy kept rolling up his eyes like this when she talks. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you rolling up your eyes? He said, I didn't know I was doing that. They're so fucking bored. They're narcissistic. They only care about themselves. Number 2, they only fucking talk about themselves in the infield. When I have to analyze it. Asians only talk about themselves. They're narcissistic. They have no empathy. You ask them. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't connect too well with women. I don't feel anything. Of course you don't feel anything. Asians don't have empathy for Chinese people. These are cold-hearted people. And you're like, really? They have no empathy.